And I think we're back. Are we back in that room? Can you hear us?
It'll probably be delayed for a bit on their end, so just keep
delayed for a bit on their end. I'll wait to see what they say, but we'll keep going. Then now they're saying now they're gone. Hang on. Okay. And we're just going to keep going. They'll catch up.
Okay.
They're fine. So Aggie, keep going.
Well, like I said, my mom was very disturbed by it. She grieved for quite a while, and then she said something to me that kind of motivated me. She said, no one should die alone. And I started thinking about the people that are in hospices, the people that are terminally ill in hospitals and things like that. And my sister works with, one of the other things that she does with the DOD, with her office, is she gathers blankets, coats for the needy. And so I approached her and I asked her, how would you feel about starting something for people that are in the hospital during the holidays that have no one that can come visit them? And she was very excited about that. She thought that was a great idea. At first she wanted to cook dinners, and I was like, no, they're all on diets. You can't just walk in with a bunch of Mexican food. People would just turn you away. And she says, well, how do you know? I said, because I tried bringing booze one time and they turned me away. So I know.
Nobody turns away Mexican food.
So we decided one of the things that we noticed every time that we would, whenever I visit someone in the hospital, or my neighbor, her husband was in hospice for a long time, and we would go visit him, was that a lot of the people were always cold. They were always huddled in a blanket or with a shawl or for whatever reason, even in the summer, but especially in the winter. Places like that don't tend to be very warm because they want to keep things cool due to disease or germs or whatever. So we decided to come up with an idea that would benefit them. And we are now gathering gloves and mittens, scarves, knitted hats, warm socks, and slippers to donate to these places. We've gotten in touch with 2 assisted living and hospice places nearby, and also the geriatric unit over at the military hospital in the city.
Yeah.
Which, as some of you may or may not know, I live near San Antonio, so that would be Brooke Army Medical Center, or as it's now known, San Antonio Military Medical Complex.
Yes.
And so...
been there, saw that.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. Another part of that will be actually booking time to spend with them, doing whatever they want us to do, whether it's just spending time reading to them, taking them places, or just being their foster family. Basically.
Just listen to them.
Yeah, I was very, I didn't tell anybody, but the loss of my uncle hit me very, very hard. So I don't want anybody to be in that position.
And we don't want you in that uncomfortable position here now. So if this is tough, you can stop at any moment.
No, it's okay. But, being in, especially in the military area, there's a lot of people that don't have their family here. We have a lot of active duty military personnel that are in the hospital for one reason or another, whose family can't be here.
Right.
So we need to provide a service where we would become their foster family. So a lot of us are getting together and making ourselves their foster parents or their foster sibling, and it's coming together really nice. I'm glad to say.
Aggie, lots of hugs coming at you from the chat room right now. There's also somebody asking if there's a way to donate funds to help you with this.
Right now it's really local, and I really appreciate it. But as soon as my sister currently is out of town, when she gets back, I'll ask her about actually setting up some kind of website or something like that. But as far as I know, she wants to keep it very local. But, you know, I'll swing it by her and see what she wants to do. She's the
sounds like a plan.
brains of the operation. I'm the brawn.
There you go. Okay.
I'm such a weakling, right? and I appreciate all the hugs and everything, but you know, it's if you knew my uncle and the 24, maybe 25 children he sired, you would know that he had a really good life. Okay. Really, really good life.
Giggity, 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 let's have sex.
There you go. And on that note, we're going to swing it back around. We're going to talk to Jennifer a little bit more since she's still able to be with us live from the festival.
Live outside the police department.
Live outside. Better outside than inside.
Very true.
I can speak from experience. But that's not this show, so don't get excited in the chat room. We're not going there tonight. So, Jennifer, besides what you call the small thing that you do, which is buying a tree and buying decorations and pouring your time into it and transporting all that down to the festival and then donating about 20 to 30 hours of your time to the festival on top of that, small part of my butt. Is there anything you do at home? And I know the kids are grown now, but still, there's got to be something
at home for
right?
family traditions.
Sure.
Oh, well, we usually donate, like we'll find some sort of, you know, way to donate to, you know, different charities. But like we do have one weird, like, so I guess what I hear is weird, like for our family that my kids still insist on. Santa, like when I was growing up, always put the stocking in our rooms, like on our beds. When you wake up in the morning, your stocking would be filled like on your bed. And so my kids, like I grew up doing that to them. And so now they still insist on it. And Taylor's going to be 21 and still is just like, if you don't get my stocking and fill it and put it on my bed, then it's not Christmas. Like we have to do that. So just like little things. I think like everybody, you know, everybody has their little things that are just unique to their families, or, you know, then you meet somebody like, oh yeah, we do the same thing. This year there's lots of fun drama going on in my family, so it should be interesting.
There's nothing like family for drama, right? I mean, you can't buy fake drama that's as good as family drama. So,
amen.
Yeah, honestly, like I just like as soon as we get through this festival, because I kind of put my stuff off like until, you know, this is done, because I'll concentrate on, you know, doing this tree, and then I don't really take care of my own tree, because then I look at my tree at home, I'm like, that tree sucks. Like, I want a different tree.
Somehow I doubt that, but
I'm just tired of it. I'm bored with it. So
we've got the picture up of what you decorate to donate. I'm sure that even with what you have left over, you could make something that's pretty magnificent, I would think.
I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's okay. Like, I honestly don't. I don't care as much. I'm just happy to be done with that damn elf. Like, for any families that are out there dealing with that elf, that is some horrible, horrible stuff you have to do every single night. And so, like, especially with Instagram and like everybody one-upping each other, and like they have, you know, elves that are like zip lining through their living rooms and all the stupid stuff that the damn elf does. I'm so glad to be done with it.
See, I've got the bad elf. Mine's always doing lines of coke or getting drunk and taking pills or.
Oh, mine used to play like spin the bottle.
So
and,
wait,
like,
there you go.
Is that
like,
the elf or you, Gene?
Like,
just curious.
Yeah, my elf was always naughty.
There you go.
But that's the fun stuff.
It is fun. It's and that's what this is all about, is having
when
fun.
It's naughty, not having to do like the every night elf stuff, because there are plenty of mornings that I would wake up and be like, oh no, I didn't move the elf.
I didn't do the fucking elf.
Yep. Oh, I didn't even realize I could swear. Damn it. I could have been swearing this whole time.
You could be.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so you guys can be mad if I have to run back in so I can help close up?
No, we're not going to be mad. Not at all. You're going to miss the F-bomb in the outro music, but,
Bummer.
okay.
I'll listen tomorrow.
You'll listen tomorrow. Hey,
yeah.
You know the song anyway, but,
Yes, I do. Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thank you for taking time out and being with us.
And I loved hearing Aggie because she's such a great person. You're a great person.
You are too kind. Way too kind.
I'm gonna go home and get me a buzz on.
There you go. We're gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna close this out with Aggie for the next few minutes. We're gonna talk a little more Christmas stuff, and then I'm gonna rant for about 2 minutes about something else, and then we're gonna zip it up and go home ourselves. So,
all right, you guys have fun.
Thank you for being with us, Jen. It's been a blast.
Yes,
bye,
lots
Jen.
of fun. Thank you so much. All right, bye.
Bye.
Drive safely. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, so that was Jennifer Sacco coming to us live from the Festival of Trees in the Merrimack Valley area. We'll go there. Not doxing anybody.
I really don't know how she does all this. I swear to God, I don't think she sleeps.
I know. I mean, and then she's like, "Oh, I just do a little bit."
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, she tells me, like I said, I'll wake up and see a 4:00 in the morning message from her, and I'm like, and then she tells me what she's doing during the day, and I'm like, I don't even have the energy to read what you're telling me, much less, I don't know how to do it. So, but it's funny that she brought up that holiday tradition of hanging the stocking in the bed. That was something that I heard my German friends do. And I know that she has German parents, so I'm
absolutely
that's where she got that idea from.
Oh, I'm sure it's European in nature. There's no doubt about it. Matter of fact, if you watch some older European Christmas type movies, you'll see that in them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, kind of like a whole, maybe not just like German, but Switzerland, Sweden, that whole area, that whole Central Europe, Bavarian region type thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt about it. So anyway, we got. Oh my God, this is horrible. The next sound you will hear will be G making Aggie a kale smoothie. The chat room has lost their minds.
And the sound after that will be me throwing it somewhere. But
you can put some vodka in it and enjoy it.
If that's allowed, then I will drink the kale smoothie.
There are no rules.
No, but it's she reminded me of something that we used to do when we were in Puerto Rico. We would celebrate Christmas. Christmas for us was, Santa brought you a gift, and that was it. But it was mostly the religious aspect of it. We went to Mass the night before, we went to Mass the day of.
Right.
And the day before, we had a huge feast, which I'm not sure if you remember, but I talked about it on Twitter one time. I'm Pino, the pig.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, this thing is an all-day event. It starts at 3:00 Christmas Eve morning, and it goes on until midnight when we go to church. So it's a big deal, but it's not where all of the presents come in. For us, it was always January 6th, which was Epiphany. And one of the things that we always had to do, we needed to find a shoebox and fill it with grass or hay and put it under our beds. Now, the reason for that was that the camels that the three magi were, riding, needed something to eat after the magi dropped off the gifts, because as you recall, the magi brought the gifts to our Savior.
Correct.
So on the 12th day. So that was for us the big day. Okay. Well, one time I could not find a shoebox.
Oh my God.
I was, and my mom said there's a box out in the where the washing machine was, and I couldn't find the box, and I was hectic. So I took one of my dad's shoes and filled it with grass and put it underneath the bed. Now, what I didn't know then, and I know now, it's my parents were the ones that were making sure that the grass was taken when they left all the gifts under the bed. And well, that day I woke up to the equivalent in Spanish of "son of a bitch." There's my shoe. I wake up and before I could turn over, I hear scuttling, and then there's nobody there, because we were in a bunk bed. My sister and I were in a bunk bed. So I didn't see anything, but I thought that was kind of weird. And it wasn't until years later that my dad explained what happened. But he was upset to find his dress shoe full of grass and hay and mud and whatever else I could find to feed the camels. But that was a tradition that we had growing up, was that all of the gifts came with the Magi, not Santa Claus. Santa Claus brought maybe one gift, but the Magi brought the goodies.
That is so cool. and see, folks, this is why you tune in, because everybody has their own traditions, their own stories, and it's all fun. We learn about each other, and we just learn not only about each other, but to accept each other. And that's what it's all about. We're people. We're not freaking political animals. But to that end, I do have to go political for about 1 to 2 minutes here. So Aggie, please bear with me. I've got a little something to say about what Twitter did recently with our friend Jesse Kelly. What they did to his account was wrong. They gave no explanation for what they did. They demanded nothing be deleted, just a swift suspension and a note saying that it was permanent. Now, we know that it's not permanent, as Jesse is back. But this is nothing new when it comes to Twitter and their seemingly targeted enforcement of their terms of service as it pertains to conservative voices. I'd love to be able to tell you folks that Twitter was engaged in simply shutting down political discourse, but that's not the case. There are no prominent accounts on the left that are being permanently suspended. We have people like Kathy Griffin, who can post a picture of severed head of Donald Trump without a suspension. We have people like Louis Farrakhan calling Jews termites and not getting suspended. But let a conservative voice, doesn't even have to be Jesse, it can be somebody else, say anything that Twitter deities just don't like, and you get an instant suspension without an explanation. Nobody knows if Jesse violated the terms of service or not, because nothing was ever given as an explanation for what they did to him. They didn't ask him to remove a violating tweet. They simply told him that his account was done and would not be restored. Thank goodness enough noise was made to where his account is back. Jesse has spoke about the silencing of voices on Twitter. He's done it on his radio program and on his TV appearances. He even predicted it on Fox News about a month earlier. He's ardent in his defense of any voice, right, left, American, or otherwise, being heard. Why? Because speech is a basic tenet of freedom. And Jesse, like many others, myself included, fought to defend that and our other freedoms. The worst part is that there are people on Twitter who actually claim to be conservatives who were cheering his suspension. Now, how can anybody who claims to be a conservative celebrate the stifling of another's voice? Well, it's simple. These people aren't conservatives at all. They're cowards that abuse the brand of conservative, trying to redefine it into their moderate globalist mindset. So what's a conservative on Twitter to do? You make your voice heard. After all, that is what Jesse stood for and still stands for. Now, I'm not Jesse Kelly. I don't have his reach. I don't have his follow. But if we all stand together and make our voices heard, the worst thing that they can do is kick us all off Twitter. And then they can just have their little echo chamber until it collapses in on itself. But that should make us even hungrier to have our voices heard. So with the exception of violence or terrorism, if you see an account suspended, don't bother looking to see what their political ideology is. Just defend their voice. You don't have to like what they're saying. That's what the mute and block functions are for on Twitter. But don't celebrate the stifling of freedom. Fight for it. And folks, that is tonight's show. There will be a rerun of FUBAR coming up next, as Fu has a child function that she is at with her kids, and Orty is sick and inside the what do they call them, bed bags? Is that what they call them, Aggie, from back in like colonial days, where they would sew the mail up in it?
Yes.
You're a little more nostalgic than I am. I figured you would know what that is.
That's okay. Let me just remove my foot from the grave and...
No, stop. We're the same age. Just hush that stuff.
Actually, one thing that I wanted to say, that since you bring up Jesse Kelly, was interesting. When he was permanently suspended from Twitter, he had 80,000 followers. He is now at 113,000 followers.
Wow, because he was 98 when I looked yesterday. So that he's just growing by leaps and bounds. That's fantastic.
And this is just to prove that you cannot silence a good voice.
No.
It would only come back stronger and louder.
And like I said, I'm no Jesse. I know I look a lot better than he does, but...
Yeah, what? I can be biased.
You can. You're allowed. But anyway, look, we're top of the hour. We got to wrap this up and let Rick get this sewn up so he can boot all the other stuff up. Folks, if you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome right here with me every week on KLRN Radio for the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. I'm your host, The Grouch. Peace and God bless.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Here's to us, here's to love, all the times that we messed up. Here's to you, feel the grass, 'cause the last few nights have kicked my ass. If they give you hell, tell them go fuck themselves. Go fuck themselves. Here's to us, here's to us, here's to us, here's to us, here's to love, here's to everybody well. Here's to us, here's to love, here's to us, here's to us.